So, good evening everyone, especially to Ma'am Apple. Good evening po. So, we're now in lesson 6.2, which is the factor affecting international marketing. So, before we begin to the main topic, so the lesson objectives are: first is elaborate to the factors that contribute to the international marketing. Second one is elucidate on the PASA analysis, and the third one is discuss Porter's 5 factors. So first is, what is the factors that contribute to the international marketing? So firms go international in the face of the general factors that drive international trade or the internationalization. So there are factors that contribute to international marketing, such as include these following. So first, we have the economic integrations. So revolves around the trade treaties between countries that usually include elimination of trade barriers and aligning monetary, leading to a more interconnected global economy. So when we say economic integrations, it also a agreements of between countries, or usually a treaties. So when we say economic integrations, it is consistent to the free trade economic theory. So gina-argue diri ang global economy nga better sila sa pag-market o pag-function sa usa ka union with minimal interventions from the government. So free trade growth ang more impacting, or more on gi elaborate ni economic integrations. Second one is the technological advancement, so a driving force of technology. So when we say technological advancement is made for consumers or customers worldwide para ma-aware sa ilang products, sa ilang mga services, and para ma-entertain ang ilahang demand for creating their product and services, and such as katong trade wires. So new interventions lead to new machineries and processes. The third one is the transition to market economy. So leads to economic development and prosperity. So when we say transition to market economy, as in the case of the Soviet Union, so the Soviet Union is facing a choice of which path nga i-follow nila to promote the economic development. So the transition to market economy is inevitable as night follows day, and it is only way to economic revitalizations for its country. So the strongest nga gi-argue para ma-support ang kini nga conclusions is to road traveled by the number of countries of the post-World War II period. So the road from dictatorship, from the states and economies to the market is as unique as the road may have been for each country like Spain, China, and South Korea. So the end has been the same: rapid economic development and economy prosperity. International business and trade stimulates para tong long-term nga world economic growth for the transitional to market economy. So through ginagamit nila by the multiple channels para maabot nila tong mga lain-lain nga mga lungsod para sa ilahang ikahatag na development and prosperity. And lastly is converging consumer needs. So dictate international business and trade participants. So this converging consumer needs is nowadays mga consumers are more informed due to the technological advancement or katong mga AI karon nga ginagamit nila. So we have mentioned and have more demands and expectations since advanced na kayo ang mga consumer or customers nga nagabildigya, not just in the Philippines but also in internationals. So these demands are what companies going international are trying to address and satisfy the needs and wants sa usa ka customer. However, there are more specific factors nga maapektuhan ang companies para maka-acquire sa global orientations and go to the international. So, ang internationalizations sa mga firms is much more is naga-influence sila by the factors that direct implications ang ilang ginagamit para mag-market sila and to market and to have marketing decisions for other firms para dili sila mawala sa ilang transitions or sa ilahang kanang consumer interactions. So most companies go to international for the purpose for the growth and expansion sa ilang business. So most of the example of these conversion consumer needs is most in multinational companies today are targeting the countries like China, mga sa India, Brazil, and South Africa kay naa sila growth potential nga makita for these companies, especially sa China nga mostly ang mga other country is nagahatag og mga product sa China para i-production dito. So that's why other companies or firms is ginabuhat nila to collaborate these countries para sa ilahang partnerships and para pud sa pag-grow o para makita pud sa company nga mas ni sunod sila karon sa trend, which is to satisfy the needs and wants of sa customers. So we are now on PASL analysis. So when we say PASL analysis is a useful scanning tool para ma-identify tong mga relevant political, economic o socio-cultural, mga technological, legal and environmental factors from the external environment that are to be deal with the international marketers. So there are 7 factors can present threats or opportunities as well as challenges. So the first one that include in PASL analysis is the political. So the internal affairs of a country that affect the economy of the country. So political such as changes sa mga tax rates, policies and actions from the government, and political stability and also the foreign trade regulations. So nga naka-affect siya or naka-apekto siya sa international marketing. So the domestic level and the political scenario of these approaches is the government or the changing in the government such as kanang mga elections and also the type of government such as democracy nga makaapekto siya sa international marketing. So the major restraining forces in the international marketing are gina-present siya by the management. So the organizational culture and national controls any change in policies of countries involved in international marketing will definitely affect the same. So the level of participations by the government bodies, all the national and state or the provincial level in the country is one of the major factors that affecting the international market. Second one is the economic. So relate to economic system of the country where our company operates. So mga customer behavior and attitude and their purchases demands are often linked to their economic financial status. So mao ang kanang gi-focus ni economic and relate to the factors of PASL. So other than this, being an economic activity, so international marketing is affect siya by a lot of economic factors. Example of this is the inflations, pagtaas sa mga palitunon, purchasing power or kwarta sa mga tao, interest rates, the income sa tao especially karon nga lower ang income nila, then employment level, lisod og makakita og trabaho, the allocation of government budget, especially the taxes, and state of the economy, also the economic integration, infrastructure, and demand and supply among others. So those are mga factors nga nag-affect ni economic that can relate or can affect the international marketing. So the example of the economic nga akong state gaina is the inflation. So when we say inflation that affect the economic is that it is the rate at which the price level of products and services are rising. So When there is inflation, so kung naay inflation nga mahitabo, ang mga prices tanan is mo taas pud siya. And the purchasing power of the individual or mga consumers is mo baba pud siya since nagkataas ang inflation or nagkataas ang presyo sa mga palitunon. Therefore, demand of non-basic commodities go down, sales of companies go down also the profit similarly goes down. So, companies will have to exert more effort to convince customers to buy. Mo nang ginabuhat nila is naga-buy one take one na sila, bisa pa or naga-discount sila nga, bisa pa gamay ra kay discounts basta ka ang consumers is makita lag discounts, mo palit dayon or maakit dayon sila. So, those are mga strategies sa mga firms or companies para makaakit sila og mga customers. So, third one is socio-cultural. So, organizations are made of people and organizations that have their own culture. So, when we say social, cultural, or social factors, so it concern with people, organizations are made up of people. So, people and organization have their own culture. So, therefore, the socio-cultural affect international marketing in terms sa ilahang in terms sa culture sa individual. So even the attitudes and behavior of government leaders whose policies and programs and decisions affect the business and trade both domestics and international. The managers who make the decisions affecting their products and services marketed domestically and internationally of domestic and foreign customers whose demands and expectation have to be filled. So, ang social factors that will definitely affect the international marketing. So, in additional for this is ang changes in the leadership style. So, inside the organization and within the countries can have profound the impact of the international marketing. Fourth one is the technological. So, advancement of technology. So, this technological is a new products and services are possible nowadays kay ang mga new technologies is naga-increase sila sa ilahang mga revenues and profits. Like nakatabang sila sa companies para ma-increase ang ilang profits ug ang ilahang revenue. So, it is technologies that have created new business like telephones, automobiles, railways, televisions, and movie productions and computers are at different times in history. So today, we have new products and services being developed by emerging technologies. So like mga internet, mobile connectivity, technology and genetic engineering. So these mga technologies nowadays is that nakatabang siya sa mga companies for the international market. So the fifth one is the legal. So governments have long intervened in international trade through a variety of mechanisms. So this legal is the political factor is the legal factor. So governments have long since ako nang gi-state gain na intervened. So the laws and ordinance of the countries engaged in international marketing affect the activity. So government nag-impose sila sa og some trade restrictions on a certain products for health and safety reasons like naay DTI para i-check siya nga safety ba ang usa ka firms or industry nga nagakuan like kailangan mag-comply sila sa mga inana food and security nga mga government agency to protect consumer also for kanang para dili ma-doubt pud ang ilang business. Next one is the environmental. So the effect of the international marketing. So the environmental, when we say this, is we are talking not only about the physical environment but also about the business and trade environment businesses operate within the worldwide. And last one is the infrastructure. So to all essential system and facilities needed for smooth flow of a country. So refers to a day-to-day activities nga maga-enhance sa people's standard of living, including sa mga basic facilities like mga roads, water supply, power and energy or transportation, or especially the telecommunications, and also the health infrastructure, educational infrastructure, recreational infrastructure, and political infrastructure like government institutions including the court and law, other regulatory bodies, the police force, defense, and many more. So, infrastructure has been extensively defined by corporate finance institutions by identifying the three infrastructures. So first is the soft infrastructure. We have also hard infrastructure and critical infrastructure. So now what is the soft infrastructure? So all institutions that help maintain a healthy community. So ang involved aning soft infrastructures is the human capital or the workforce and the service oriented toward the population. So it includes the health infrastructure, mga educational infrastructure, mga financial infrastructure, law and order or government system like mga GSIS, SSS, or Pag-ibig. Second one is the hard infrastructure. So covers all physical system crucial to running a modern and industrialized economy. So the hard infrastructure is includes sa mga transportation systems such as mga roads, highways, and telecommunication service like telephone lines and broadband system. And last one is critical infrastructure. So all assets that are defined by the government. So when we say critical infrastructure, it is includes the asset used sa mga shelter and heating. So public health, telecommunications, and agriculture facilities, including the natural gas, the drinking water, and medicine. So and so much more, as these are also physical system. The hard infrastructure referred to above belongings to the critical infrastructures.